Well, I guess there is at the moment we are really divided between that, where there's these big, big corporations, oil, pharmaceuticals, and chemicals, supplying a big agricultural industry. These are not farmers that grow food, they grow commodities, right? So they'll grow sugar or corn. They don't see that as I'm growing the most delicious corn. Now they grow the BT57, which happens to be resistant to this pesticide, and they can sell it at the market for this price in big bags. It's like, I'm sorry, I mean, all the respect to these farmers, because without them there would be nothing to eat. But these farmers have really turned into businessmen, and they're growing food um, for money. But agriculture hasn't always been that way. So looking at the history of agriculture is interesting. You'll see that it started maybe 10,000 years ago, and these native tribes in Australia, all over the world, I guess, they practice what's called fire stick farming, where you live as part of a forest, because most of the planet would have been covered in forest. And you can decide to chop certain trees or open up the canopy. You can interfere with the forest a little bit. You can burn certain parts down to drive animals a certain way to ensure your food supply. But it wasn't until we really started tearing down large parts of forest and we invented the tools to really work the soil and we developed seeds that we started to really be able to stay in one place. And you see these huge cities like Singapore that literally have none of their own food supply being able to develop themselves only since the 50s, because that's when we seriously started to create the hybrid seeds and the mechanical tools and the machinery and the helicopters that can spray these chemicals, and the big agriculture that allowed us to get really far removed from our food supply, right? Really interesting. And I guess the only way for us to really do something about that is looking at our diet and observing our diet. So, for example, I grew up in Holland, and there's just a lot of cattle grazing, dairy cattle, and there's a lot of pig farming industries. There's a lot of wheat growing, and even the old windmills that used to mill the wheat, and there's a lot of greenhouses. And that scenario really translated in a bacon, cheese, tomato sandwich, right? That's the way you can look at it. And I think that's really fun. So you can look around Bali and you can see all these rice fields, and then you see these little pockets of palm trees and jackfruit, and there's bamboo, there's galangal and ginger and other pockets. So you're looking around and you can really see a plate of food happening in Bali. And often I'm dreaming about this stuff, like what would the world look like if our diets were different?